Hey, welcome everybody. It's Lisa.
And I'm Dave, and Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy.
Happy New Year, Lisa.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to you. Where in the world are you?
I am on the Millennium Falcon. Actually, I am in my garage because we had to start this year off quarantining just because we traveled more than 150 miles. We're coming back. We have to quarantine, and I'm in my garage because my children are doing virtual school. My wife works from home, and I'm relegated to the garage where it is currently very cold, very cold. I feel like I am in deep space of the Millennium Falcon, so that's why I am here. So
I was wondering why you're wearing the hat. I mean, it's very stylish and all, but that makes sense if you're freezing.
I'm just so cold. I have a heater like on my lap.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Well, I can't believe it's 2021 already. Hey, Mark and I got married on the 21st. I got engaged when I was 21 years old. His number in basketball was 21. So I have a feeling this is going to be a special year for April family. I don't know what it is, but
that's pretty cool. Well, good luck to you on that numerology. I hope that does work out for you. Well, that's good.
Hey, I'm curious, do you do New Year's resolutions or a word for the year, anything like that each year?
Kind of like, I think what like Jay talked about this past year, even though nothing changes, there does seem to be something exciting about the beginning of a new year and new year, new hope. And you kind of look at, what you're going through. So I did some reflecting. I have a friend who she said she wrote herself a letter every year. So I think I might do that this year, write myself a letter, reflecting. I had to try real hard to reflect back on 2020 because I just really wanted psychologically to forget it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to learn from it. So I wrote down some lessons of what I learned in 2020 and what I want to take forward, like some bad lessons that I learned backward. You look at some bad stuff. So not that it's a word, but I think that care has become like a huge word. Care for both the people in my household, my wife, caring for her, caring for my children. And also, weirdly enough, as an Enneagram 2, I tend not to care for myself. I tend to put other people out there. And so looking at myself as someone I need to care for, put on your own life vest and your oxygen mask before you help others. So trying to be care for myself with mostly with sleep and health and all those kinds of things and diet and such, but also there's the spiritual side of it, caring for yourself. So care is, I don't know if that's going to end up it's the word for January for sure. There might be 11 other words, but what about you? Do you have a practice or a thing that you've done?
Yeah. Well, I usually try to do a reflection kind of Christmas, New Year's Eve, that type of time. Totally. And I kind of like to find a word. And this year, I gave myself permission to have a group of words.
Oh, like a phrase? A cluster?
Just settle on one. It's a cluster. It's a word cluster. So I really was drawn to the word stillness this year.
Oh.
I don't know why. It just really sounds great to be still. But I'm also was drawn to the word present. I really... it's important to me to deal with what my reality is, what the present is happening. But then I really learned from last year, I think, in sitting with myself all year in COVID.
Yeah.
God really gave me some areas in my life to take action on. So it's like the stillness
plus action. I love it.
Stillness plus being in this stillness, Lord, what's my reality right now? And then what action do you want me to take on what you're showing me? And you know what that SPA spells? The first letter of each one? It says spa, Dave, which I love a good day at the spa, but more of a soul spa. And so
that's good.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying my first few days of my soul spa and really trying to be still. Intentionally so that I can hear what God has for me.
I love that. I do think that we deeply underestimate the importance of prayer and stillness before action. There was that thing a couple of years ago, thoughts and prayers, and it was maligned by our general culture as though thoughts and prayers actually is stupid or is a waste of time. And again, if you stop at thoughts and prayers, perhaps maybe that's not where you should stop. But as a starting place for all Christians, thoughts and prayers are exactly where we should all start. That's the beginning, the Holy Spirit, and that. So I really love that, the stillness and the prayer and the discipline of stopping and then moving. That's a beautiful picture of, I think, because just like Jay and Steve talked about this week, hope is not about passivity, just empty. It's about getting your rolling up your sleeves, right? But let's first be still. That's cool.
Yeah. So looking forward to a spa day on a regular basis, and we'll see what how God uses that. But hey, I have a question for you. As we start our new season of life groups, I'd love for you to share with our leaders kind of what's ahead for us. We start, you guys, the 10th of this month, which is this coming Sunday, and we have a long season. It goes all the way till the end of May, with a couple of weeks in between as a break. Check the calendar down below for the exact dates. But Dave, what are we going to be, for those that are doing sermon series, what are we going to be looking at during this season?
Well, and again, for everybody who's out there, we're going to be marching from January all the way through past Easter. And again, it's our deep hope that we'll be able to gather again by Easter. Yes. That's all of our deep hopes. We're going to start off with compassion immersion. That was our plan last year, just to kick us off into the outward focused. And we're actually going to be starting off the year with a bang with Bob Goff. He's not just a New York Times bestselling author. He's also a famous trial lawyer and an advocate for justice across the world, especially for children who are abused and hurt. He's an incredible legal advocate across the globe for children who have been hurt. And he's wildly funny. He's almost like a Muppet. He reminds me of like a real life Muppet.
Agree.
He's so it's almost it's like, are you a caricature? Are you pretending? And he's not. The one thing, though, that comes across from Bob is joy and hope. And we just thought that would be a great way to kick off. And then Finney, Kayvon, and Steve are going to talk about what we've done this past year, what we need to do, what we plan to do, what we hope to do. Every year, Steve chooses a character from Christian history, not a person, not like a
Muppet.
Not a Muppet. He chooses a character. This year, he's choosing Dietrich Bonhoeffer. And then from there, we're going to go into a series called Finding Hope in Hard Times. Well, I don't know if that's going to be the title, but that's the idea of it. It's based on 1 Thessalonians. We're just going to go through that book. That's a book written to people who were in hard times. And we're going to go through that.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, right. But it's going to be tied to a series of things that are really going to try to help folks really get through hard times, whether it's loneliness or depression, anxiety, tough job loss, family struggle, marital struggles, etc. And then from there, we're going to a real fun series, which I'm really excited about. It's called How Not to Read the Bible. It's based on a book by Dan Kimball, who's the lead pastor at Vintage Faith over in Santa Cruz. And Lisa, you've read this, or you've begun reading it.
I'm in the process of reading it. It's awesome.
It's so fun.
Excited.
So, and that'll take us through to May. So we're excited about that. And again, I cannot wait to be back together incarnate. But for right now, for this month, we're gonna have to pause on that for most of us. But man, we're really praying for that to happen.
And Dave, you start writing sermon series questions this week for this weekend?
Yep. Yeah, so those will be available to all of you starting this weekend. Those will be sent out. We start off this week with Bob Goff.
And just know, you guys, as we enter back into a new season, those questions are a springboard for however God uses them in your group. I would say probably this first session in particular is going to be just about catching up with people and how their Christmas and New Year's was. So again, add to them, skip parts of them, use them however you want. But know that Dave, I just want to give a shout out this guy is tremendously talented and spends a good amount of time thinking through what's the best way to take the teachings that we have and create ways that we can have meaningful and life-transforming conversations around the topics that we're discussing as a church body. So Dave, I just want to thank you.
Oh, thank you. But even what you just said, about what's your reflections, all those questions are fantastic. And so even what Lisa just did with me, asking me, well, what's been stirring in your heart, and then sharing her process, that stuff really matters as people process 2020 and go into 2021. Where does God's Spirit seem to be leading folks into directions of health? And it's exciting. So that's a fantastic question to begin with this year, and for you as leaders to begin to really articulate. Speaking of leaders and their health, Lisa, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, we're gonna ask you a question for your touch point this particular month, and we ask you to answer it just one time. But in November, you gave us a really good feel for what the temperature of your groups were. But as we start this new year, we really want to know how you're doing as a leader. And there's no right or wrong answer. If I'm completely honest, it was really hard transitioning from vacation, right? Christmas and New Year's, which was a different vacation than ever before, into work. Yesterday, was that Monday?
Yeah.
Like, okay, which pair of leggings should I put on for work today? It's just, and with no sense of real control over what's happening and when we're going to be back together, and just so many things in life. So I had to work really hard with God to get my heart in the right place, right? And so if I'm feeling that way, I feel like I'm probably not alone. So we really want to know, how can we best support you as leaders right now? What do you need from us for yourself personally? And so if you just be honest with us and give us your answers, we're going to do a survey, I believe a church-wide survey with our leaders, 640s, shortly, just to kind of get a heartbeat of where everybody's at, and how we can best come alongside you. We are doing our best, you guys, as Dave said, in a season that we don't know. We've never done this before, tried to steer a church in the middle of a pandemic. But the church is not a building, the church is people, and it's you, and it's the people that you're caring for. So we really want to do that the best that we can, and we can't do it without knowing how people are doing. So take a little time, let us know. And also, it's okay as leaders to be struggling. I just want to say that, like, many of you are going to be doing great, and but it's okay to not always feel like things are great. But with God, it doesn't mean that we step out of leadership necessarily. It just means, Lord, give me what I need today. Help me as I sit in my stillness and I hear, and here's my present reality. Where are you? And what are you asking of me as far as, in my opinion, connecting myself, abiding with you? What does that look like even when it's hard? And what does it look like when things are going well?
And it's a joy for us to pray with you too. I know there's two leaders, one of whom just over Thanksgiving lost his job. Another friend of ours who's a 640 leader, his wife's going into surgery for breast cancer today. So it's those are the kinds of things we want to walk with you through. And those are not easy things. To pretend that they are is foolish. And we want to pray with you. We want to try to support you, even if it means we can't physically be with you, for you to know that we're praying for you as frequently as you come to our hearts and minds. And so that's important to us. So,
well, we, as always, are just so grateful for each and every one of you. And thanks for taking the time to watch our video. It is our main way of communicating with you guys. And we do look forward to hopefully being in person sooner than later. But in the meantime, we're going to come to you every other week from our garages or our home offices.
The Millennium Falcon, or from Dagobah, wherever we find ourselves, really.
But we appreciate you guys and are praying for you, as Dave said, especially as you launch this next week, a new season. So blessings to you, and thanks for all
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's going to be a good one. All right. Well, thanks, Lisa.
Bye, you guys.